Mute. All right, excellent. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we're going to begin with the Fulton State All-Purpose Calendar. This is a list of misdemeanor criminal cases which have already been formally accused. Most of the defendants should have had an initial appearance. Bonds have been set in the cases. Today is essentially what we call a plea and arraignment calendar or a status calendar. We're going to be addressing each of these cases on a one-on-one basis to see whether the defendant, after consulting with his or her attorney, would like to consider a plea offer or would like to enter a not guilty plea and have the case further noticed for trial. In certain other matters, we'll also be addressing the status of the cases. So if you are a defendant accused of one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. If this right to remain silent applies to the facts of your case or anything pertaining to your case. Anything you say during the course of this virtual court proceeding, which is recorded and live streamed, your statements will be used against you, especially by the prosecutors who are present on this Zoom conference. You have a right to an attorney if you cannot afford one of the attorneys from the public defender's office or the conflict defense list will represent you. All right, courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Good morning, Judge Law. This is going to be position 34.
All right.
Good morning, Judge.
Mr. Smith.
Good morning, Ms. Helen. Okay. And Ms. Helen, you have positions 24 to 42, correct?
Correct, Judge.
Okay, so we have 34, 34. Okay. Mr. O'Brien Leonard Smith, is that correct?
No.
Yeah.
Are you Mr. O'Brien Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Smith, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Catrice Helen. I understand that you're going to be entering into a plea with regards to your case. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Reed, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
And what is the offer for Mr. Smith's charges of criminal trespass and theft by shoplifting?
For count 1, the offer is 12 months to serve 30 days. Credit for time served 15 days, balance probated, stay away from the incident location, which is 74 Northside Drive in Atlanta. And that's a Circle K. And as it relates to count 2, the offer is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, and a balance probated with a theft class.
Oh, okay. And once he completes the theft class, do you have any objection to non-reporting?
No objection from the state.
All right, thank you. Ms. Helen, are these the terms to which your client has agreed?
Yes, Your Honor, and since it's a probated sentence, we are asking for at least 6 months of those probation fees to be waived.
6 months? I'll just waive probation fees till the end of the year.
Understood, Mr. O'Brien, that's the last 3 months. Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
I do, Judge.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smith, you have you consumed any alcohol and medication recently?
I'm taking antibiotics.
Okay. Even with the medication you've taken, have you understood your attorney and have you understood what's going on?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And is anyone forcing you to take a plea?
No.
And if you take this plea, you'll have to give up your right to go back to court, to have a trial, to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, present your own defenses, and challenge the state's evidence, or have the state prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to do that?
No.
Repeat.
No.
Okay, so you want a trial? You want to go to court?
No. I'm saying I agree with what you're saying.
Oh, okay. How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass and 1 count of theft by shoplifting?
Guilty.
Your sentence is going to be concurrent for the criminal trespass. Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. The balance of the time will be probated. At all times, you have to stay away from the Circle K gas station on Northside Drive. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot return to the Circle K gas station. You cannot be in the parking lot, the sidewalks, or especially inside the store. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
On the theft by shoplifting, your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. You'll be released within 24 hours if you have no other cases at the jail, and you'll be placed on probation. You must report to probation at 132 Mitchell Street next Thursday. Today is Thursday, so 7 days from today, you have to report to probation at 132 Mitchell Street. I will waive your probation fees till the end of the year. Make sure you complete your anti-theft class by then.
Yes, ma'am.
If not, you will start paying probation fees from January 1st of next year. After you finish the theft class, I'll allow your probation to be non-reporting, only after you finish your theft class. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that concludes your case.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 29, Ragland.
All right. Ms. Helen, this is an arraignment and a bond matter.
Correct, Judge.
All right. Mr. Tariano Marquis Ragland is accused of loitering and prowling from September 9th, 2022. Mr. Ragland, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Helen. Ms. Helen, do we waive a reading of the accusation?
We do, Judge.
All right. Mr. Ragland, you've been accused of this one misdemeanor offense. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the state will have the burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state prevails, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead to this one misdemeanor offense?
Yeah, not good.
Your case has been arraigned. Ms. Helen, what's the issue with the bond?
Currently, when I spoke to Mr. Radlin, he's not able to make the $2,000 surety when it was set, Judge. And just with the Ayala factors, can I have his current history read by pretrial?
All right, do we have Ms. Harrison or Mr. Howard pretrial?
I bet I had to print off my calendar. What number?
Position 29.
Let me pull the file real quick. Ragland?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know. Let's see. It's 39 pages. Last arrest was 2018, probation out of Clayton County. On probation for shoplifting and VGCSA out of Clayton County.
Mhm.
There's another drug out of Clayton County probation. On parole for possession with intent to distribute marijuana. He gets off of parole for that in 2024.
All right. Anything else you want to know, Ms. Helen?
No, Judge. So his last arrest was 2018. Again, going into the Ayala factors, I do not believe that he will get arrested if granted bond modification that we're requesting. Firstly, we're requesting a signature bond in the same amount for Mr. Ragland. He's 49 years old. He is a lifetime resident of Georgia, specifically in Fulton County and Newton County. He is a proud father of five children, Judge, all of which are girls. He does have 2 additional sons. And Judge, we are asking for that signature bond. Again, his last arrest is 2018. I do not believe he's a danger to the community or a danger to any witnesses, Judge. So we are asking for that bond modification of a signature bond in the same amount. And if your honor feels that the signature bond is not appropriate, we are asking for a bond modification to no more than $500.
All right, thank you. Ms. Reed?
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe there haven't been incidents since 2018 because he was sentenced. He was in custody, I believe, but he does have a total of 26 cycles. He was, the facts of this case, he was seen driving through a parking lot and there was a female passenger jumping out, checking the doors to see if they were locked or not. So the state's position just is to keep the bond as the same at $2,000.
All right. I'm going to amend the bond to a $500 good bond, and he is to stay away 200 yards away from the entire complex. I believe it was 3334 Peachtree Road. No illegal drugs, alcohol, weapons. Mr. Ragland, I produced your bond to $500. Your criminal record history doesn't qualify you for a signature bond. If you return to that location again at 3334 Peachtree Road and you're discovered there, you could be back in jail with no bond. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ragland.
Okay,
Thank
this
you.
case is further notice for trial. Medical, who do we have, please?
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks.
Medical, who do we have, please?
I have position number 12, guest.
All right, that's Mr. Finling's client. And on position number 12, we have, let's see, okay, Mr. Tony Guess,
Yes, ma'am.
represented by Mr. Zach Finling. Mr. Guess, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of the case, your statements can and will be used against you. We are addressing 20 CR 003624E, in which you've been accused of following too closely, DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, possession of an open alcohol container, 3 counts of the possession of an open alcohol container from June 13th, 2019. Mr. Guest, Mr. Finling, this is going to be an arraignment.
Good morning, Judge. Yes, this will be an arraignment and a bond hearing.
All right. So and do you waive a reading of the accusations?
I do, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Guest, you've been accused of these traffic-related matters, including DUI from
Yes.
2019. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the state would have the burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state, I hope you can hear me. If the state prevails, you could be convicted of one or more of these charges. If convicted, you could face a penalty of up to a year in prison and/or up to $1,000 fine for each convicted offense. I understand that you were arrested again on this case based on a bench warrant for failure to appear in court on March 29th, 2021. All right, so given this information, how do you plead to these charges presently?
Not guilty, ma'am.
All right, sir. Your case has been arraigned and it will be scheduled for trial before Judge Morrison. What is the issue with the bond, Mr. Finlay?
Yes, Judge. He does have a $3,000 surety bond. If I could, I also wanted to hear his criminal history, if we could, Judge.
All right, Mr. Howard, do you have the history?
I don't have a history.
Okay, let's see. Ms. King, do you have the history on Mr. Guess?
I do, Your Honor, and good morning.
Good morning.
The defendant has 17 cycles on his GCIC, the last being a 2015 conviction of possession of cocaine and felony drug. However, that was conditionally discharged, I'm assuming due to a diversion program. Prior to that, he has a shoplifting conviction from 2012, a criminal trespass conviction from 2012. He also has an FTA from 2000. And while it's removed, I thought that would be relevant for Your Honor to know.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Finlay?
Yes, Judge. So Mr. Guess's bond is a $3,000 surety bond, Judge. He has been incarcerated for 17 days now. Mr. Guess is 58 years old. He's been married for 10 years. His wife is in Atlanta. He has family in Atlanta. His ties are to Atlanta. He's been here for 28 years, Judge. So he does have strong community ties. I do recognize that he did have an FTA. That being said, there was a return to sender on March 8th, 2021, shortly before that missed court date. So he unequivocally would have been at court if he did receive notice. I do have a good address for him, Judge, and he does want to fight this case. So he unequivocally will be back at court, and he's been unable to make this $3,000 total bond, Judge. So I am asking for this to be lowered to a $1,500 surety bond. to ensure that he can get out and continue to fight this charge, but from the outside. And once again, Judge, he made very clear that he will be at court, Your Honor.
All right. On
Your
the
Honor-
DUI,
Your Honor,
no,
if I
sorry,
may-
Ms. King. I just had a question. On the DUI charge, okay, no, I got it. I thought it was drugs, but it was alcohol. Sorry.
Yes, correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
This event occurred on June of 2019. Officer responded to an accident scene and assumed that the defendant was intoxicated. So he called a DUI expert who came to the scene. When he came to the scene, speaking to the officer, he stated that he had rear-ended a young lady. And when he got out of the vehicle, the car was still moving. It was still in drive. And also his wife was in the vehicle at the time who he could have injured. She was the one that actually had to push the brake to get the vehicle stopped. At that point, the officers came up to him. They smelled alcohol coming from his breath, and he was also swaying back and forth. He had trouble keeping his balance. He also couldn't comprehend the questions from the officer at the time. And he said, even when he removed him from the vehicle, he still smelled the strong alcohol breath. He declined to do any kind of test at that point, including the field sobriety, but due to their experience, especially calling a DUI expert to the field, he determined he was left safe to drive. Search incident to arrest. They searched him and they searched the vehicle, and they found an empty bottle of vodka and a Lime-A-Rita can, and also other alcoholic beverages that were open. Some were empty, some had some left inside of it, which led to the charges before Your Honor today. Implied consent was read and it was refused. The state is asking for the bond conditions and the amount to stay as set because he could have killed the driver that he hit. He could have killed his wife as well as himself. This is a very serious offense. The state also feels that the offer was more than reasonable. For that reason, especially with him having 17 cycles, the state feels that the bond is more than reasonable, asks it to remain.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. Finley, you say you have a new address for Mr. Guest?
So it's not a new address, Judge. It's the address that's on file. It is
Is it the
supposed to be
correct one? We have a Glen Rose something. Is there a apartment number, unit number that we're missing?
House.
I do not have that. There's an apartment number. It's correct, Mr. Guest, right? It's 3143 Glen Rose Court, Southwest Atlanta.
Yes, this is a home house. Yes.
Okay. All right. If that's the case, then sir, you're responsible for making sure that you receive the mail, or you might want to check with the post office, because if you don't show up the next time, well,
Yes.
I guess we go back to the same bond.
Yes.
On the DUI, it's going to be a $1,500 straight bond. The remaining charges is going to be a $500 signature bond through pretrial services on each count. That would be a total of $2,000 on the remaining charges and $1,500 on the DUI. So the total bond is $3,500. It's a split bond. Mr. Guest will report to pretrial once a month. He is not to consume any illegal drugs, and he's not to consume any alcoholic beverages. He will be subject to random screens for drugs and alcohol by pretrial services. And no driving unless he checks with the Department of Driver Services and makes sure that his license is not suspended or that he doesn't have limited driving privileges. And make sure also that he has adequate insurance and proper registration on any vehicle he drives. His next court date will be sent to him at his Glen Rose address. Again, if there's something wrong with the mail and the bench warrant issues, that's all on Mr. Guest. Thank you.
Understood, Judge. Thank you.
And Mr. Finley, if you can draft the proposed bond modified order and send it to April Champion, please.
Yes, Judge, will do.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor.
We're moving on from medical. We're at courtroom 2. Who do we have, please?
Position 28, Postel.
Stanley Postel, accused of theft by taking from September 8th, 2022 in case 22 CR 006065J. Mr. Postel, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Zach Finley. Oh, excuse me, Ms. Catrice Helen.
Yes,
And,
Judge.
this is going to be a negotiated plea. So Mr. Postel, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Reed, please articulate the plea.
Okay, for this case, it's going to be 12 months, serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days, balance probated, a theft class, and a stay away from the incident location located at 715 Techwood Drive in Atlanta.
Ms. Helen, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
He does, Judge, and we are asking for those probation fees to be waived since it's a probated sentence, Judge.
All right, till end of the year.
3 months.
All right, so Mr. Postel, have you consumed any alcohol or medication?
No.
Have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
And are you satisfied with your attorney's services?
Yes.
And has it been explained to you that if you take this plea offer, you would have to give up your right to a trial, to confront your accuser, examine your witnesses, challenge the state's evidence, present your own defenses, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yeah.
And how do you plead to one count of theft by taking?
It's true.
Repeat.
It's true. It's guilty.
I can't hear you, sir. You need to speak up.
I'm guilty.
Thank you. Okay. I heard guilty and then something else after that.
You gotta speak up.
I'm guilty.
Thank you. Your sentence is 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days. Your jail time is concluded. If there are any other cases, if there are no other cases holding you at the jail, you will be released within 24 hours, and you'll have to report to the probation office next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. I will waive your probation fees till the end of the year. So if you complete your anti-theft class by the end of the year, then your probation will be non-reporting from January 1st onwards. Understood?
Yes.
All right, that concludes your case.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Finling is trying to do a three-way call with someone, so. Okay, is Mr. Hernandez in the courtroom?
Yes, he is, Judge. Go ahead and have a seat, Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah, and Mr. Finling and our interpreter, Mr. Soka. So Mr. Soka, the number for the jail, if I can give that to you, is 404-612-2392. And Mr. Finling, if you could either arrange the call or send your number to Mr. Soka, so one of you can arrange a three-way call with Mr. Hernandez, okay?
Okay, perfect, Judge. I'm putting my number in the chat right now.
I'm gonna let the two of you manage that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Courtroom 4 South here. I'll be with courtroom 2 next. 4 South, who do we have?
Number 27.
Thank you. We have Davario Parker. Mr. Parker, you have case number 22 CR 006035D, accused of criminal trespass from September 2022. Your attorney is Miss Helen, and you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Miss Helen, this is a negotiated plea. So Mr. Parker, if I may place you under oath, do you solemnly swear the information you provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Reed?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, the offer on this case, Judge, is 12 months, served 32 days, credit for time served 16 days, balance suspended, stay away from the incident location, which is 1916 Piedmont Road in Atlanta. That's the VIP spa.
Ms. Helen, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Parker, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings as well as understood your attorney?
Yes.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
If you decide to take this plea, you would have to give up your right to go back to court and have a trial. You would also have to give up your right to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, have the opportunity to challenge the state's evidence or present your own defenses. You would also have to give up your right to have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days. If you have no other cases holding you at the jail, you should be released. And since the balance is suspended, you don't have to be on probation. However, you cannot return to the VIP Spa on Piedmont Road. If you return to that location, VIP Spa will call and have you arrested again, and we get to do this all over again. So isn't this fun?
No, ma'am.
That's understood. Keep that in mind. Thank you. Best of luck.
All right,
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, I promised courtroom 2, so medical, I'll be with you shortly. Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Position 21, Lewis.
All right. Mr. Lewis. In courtroom 2.
I believe that's Mr. Findling's case. I have 24 through 42.
Okay, Mr. Finling, are you prepared to address this?
I can, Judge. I'm still waiting for the three-way call to work out, so I can
Okay.
take your.
Thank
And
you.
it's 21, 22, and 23, Your Honor.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. Kendrick Lewis, good morning, sir. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Zach Finling, who
Yes,
is on screen. Do you see him?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Lewis, we have 3 cases before you. And I just want to make sure that this is going to be a global offer, Ms. King?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. So Mr. Lewis, just for the record, the 3 cases are 20 CR 003 919Y, in which you've been accused of 2 counts of theft by shoplifting from May 18th, 2020 and May 25th, 2020. The second case is 20 CR 00392Y. You've been accused of theft by shoplifting from June 6, 2020. And position 23 is another theft by shoplifting charge, 20 CR 00392Y. That's from June 24th, 2020. Ms. King, is the state only accepting guilty pleas on these charges?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Lewis, I need to notify you. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4 counts of theft by shoplifting that will be listed on your conviction record, which means that if you get arrested again for theft by shoplifting, it will automatically be a felony charge. It would no longer be a misdemeanor charge. And with a felony charge, if the state proves such a charge beyond a reasonable doubt, you could be looking at a prison sentence of more than 1 year and a more than $1,000 fine. So has that been explained to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're going to proceed with the plea. If you may raise your right hand and I may place you under oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, so Ms. King, what is the global offer for all 4 charges in 3 cases?
It is 12 months to serve 118 days, credit for time served 59 days, with the balance probated, 3 theft classes, ADET, no further contact, and a stay away. The stay away address is the same for all 3, is the Shell gas station located at 1720 Martin Luther King Drive Southwest, but we have 2 no further contact victims. The first is Rao Suresh, RAO, last name SURESH, and the second is DeWitt Endale, DAWIT, last name ENDALE. ENDALE.
EALE. Okay. So it's Rao Suresh and DeWitt Endale, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. Well, okay. Mr. Finling, are these the terms to which your client has agreed, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for all three cases?
Yes, Judge, this was our understanding of the offer, of which we do agree and do so stipulate. Would just ask that the probation fees could be waived for Mr. Lewis for a period of time to help him get on his feet.
All right, I will waive probation fees up to and including the end of February 2023. But after February 2023, Mr. Lewis will start paying probation fees from March 1st, 2023. So he'll need to make every attempt to get employed and start earning some money. And he will be reporting to probation every month for the rest of, well, this is 118 days. Help me out, Mr. Finling, 118 days.
So it looks like that would be about 10 months because he served right at 60 days.
Oh, okay. So he'll be reporting to probation for the rest of the 10 months. Understood, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that any subsequent arrest for theft by shoplifting will be a felony charge?
Yes, ma'am.
Your attorney has gone over the rights with you. He's explained your options. Are you satisfied with his services?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you entering a guilty plea to all these charges freely, voluntarily, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am.
You do understand that if you take the plea for all three cases, you will not be able to go back to court to be appointed counsel so that you can challenge the state's evidence, examine witnesses, confront your accuser, present your defenses, and have the state try to prove all four charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to the theft by shoplifting charges in the three cases I have identified?
I plead guilty, ma'am.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 118 days, credit for time served 59 days. You'll be released from the Fulton County Jail within 24 hours if you have no other cases holding you. If you are released, you must report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, I will waive your probation fees up to and including the end of February 2023. But you will report to probation every month during the term of your sentence, which means you'll be reporting to probation for the next 10 months. Beginning March 1st, 2023, you will start paying probation fees. While on probation, you will also complete an alcohol and drug evaluation. And if the evaluator says you need treatment, you will submit yourself to that treatment at your expense. You will also complete 3 anti-theft classes, not 1, but 3. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you have 10 months to complete that, so make sure you do it. You'll have to stay away from the Shell gas station at 1720 Martin Luther King Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. Staying away from that Shell gas station means 200 yards. That's the length of 2 football fields. You cannot be across the street, on the sidewalk, on the parking lot, and definitely not in that store. And you're not to have any contact with Raul Suresh and Endale DeWitt or DeWitt Endale. Understood? I
Yes.
presume there are employees at that location?
Yes, Rao is the owner and DeWitt is a cashier that works there.
All right. That concludes your case.
All right. Thank you.
Medical, who do we have, please?
Position 38, Stewart.
All right. Mr. Finling, I hope your call is going through.
Yeah.
I will take this case.
Okay, I'm gonna hop off right now.
Thank you. Robert Stewart is accused of battery in 20 CR 004139F from June 3rd, 2020. Mr. Stewart, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is Miss Helen. And this is going to be, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up with
A
this.
negotiated plea, Your Honor.
Negotiated plea, okay. Mr. Stewart, may I place you under oath for the plea hearing? Oh, just one hand, okay. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Sir, I'm Stewart.
Okay, open your right hand. Listen very carefully. Do you swear that whatever you say will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes,
Thank you. You may place your hands down. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Ms. Reed, what is the offer for Mr. Stewart?
Thank you, Judge. The offer is 12 months, serve 228 days, credit for time served 114 days, balance suspended, no further contact and a stay away.
And can you identify the location and victim?
I can. The location's 2900 Landrum Drive, Southwest, Landrum, Landrum, and that's in Atlanta. And the victim in this case is Jaquita Nelson, Chiquita, Nelson, common spelling.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Helen, does your client accept these terms?
He does, Your Honor.
And you stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID?
I do, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart, first of all, Mr. Stewart, just to make sure, have you understood everything that's going on?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've spoken to your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with how she's worked for you?
Sure.
All right. Was that a yes or no?
No, yes, ma'am.
You're happy with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Have you consumed any kind of medication recently?
I think the older dude trying to talk a dude, they're trying though.
Okay,
They're trying.
but do you understand what's going on so far?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Stewart, what you're going to have to do is, based on your conversation with your attorney, is enter a plea of guilty to the charge of battery. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, if you decide to do that, I hope your attorney has explained to you that you will give up your right to go back to court and have a trial. You will not have a trial. You will not sit in the courtroom. You will not confront your accuser. You will not be able to examine witnesses or present your defenses and have the state try to prosecute the case and prove the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. All right? Do you know what a trial is?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You will have to give up all your rights to have that. Are you prepared to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of battery?
Yes, ma'am. Like,
You need to repeat your response. Are you guilty or not guilty about the charge of battery?
right here.
All right. Mr. Stewart, I'm going to ask you, are you pleading guilty or not guilty to the charge of battery?
Right here, I'm still right here, I'm through.
Judge, she has a slight speech impediment. Mr. Stewart, she just wants to hear, are you pleading guilty or not guilty?
Yeah, I'm through. I'm through.
Okay. All right. Mr. Stewart, do you understand why you are here, right?
It's right there here.
Okay, you were charged with battery.
Okay.
Do you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you plead guilty to the charge?
Right here.
Do you plead guilty?
I'm through.
Yes or no? Do you plead guilty?
I'm right here. Go home.
Judge, I'm sorry. The state is not going to go forward with this plea. It's clear that he does not understand what's going on. I don't know if we need to do a reset or a competency evaluation, but the state does not feel comfortable at this point. You repeat
Judge,
yourself.
I can reset it, have a social worker go visit Mr. Stewart.
Okay.
I just don't want him to take a plea, and it doesn't appear that he's cognizant to what's occurring.
He's been able to understand all the other questions, but whether you plead guilty or not. So
I agree. You asked him 5 times, and
I know. Miss Helen, I'm going to reset the case to next Thursday, and that's the 29th. and you can have him evaluated or decide whether, I'm not sure whether he's taken any medication that's impairing his ability to understand. So go
Understood,
ahead
Judge.
and we'll have him either evaluated or readdress this case. Mr. Stewart, your attorney is going to speak with you, and we're going to look at your case again next week. Understood?
I gotta go home over here. Gotta go home. What happened?
All right. Can you tell me why you are here?
I live it. It's on. I live it. So I done go home. Please go home, please.
Okay,
Please, baby, go home.
all right.
Please.
Understood. Hang on, hang on. Miss Helen, I'm going to put you in a breakout with the medical. With Mr. Jordan, could you place Miss Helen in a breakout with medical, please?
And could Mr. Jordan, or excuse me, Mr. Howard come as well?
Mr. Howard, Miss Helen, and medical. Thank you. Courtroom 2.
This is
Who do we
Mr.
have?
Wilson.
I hope he's awake.
Sit up, sit up. sit up. This
All
is position 42, Mr. Wilson.
22, okay,
No, 42, Mr. Wilson.
all right.
Actually, that is, you know what? That is Miss Helen's case. And she's just going in a breakout, so. Have a seat over there. She's not available.
I can take anyone from positions 1 through 23.
We also have Mr. Finley on the three-way call with the Spanish interpreter.
All right. Ms. Rockwell, you represent Chase Spencer. Is Chase Spencer in the courtroom?
Is Chase Spencer in here? Chase Spencer? Let me see. He's actually,
All right. Ms. Rockwell, you represent Chase Spencer.
he's
Good
on
morning.
blacked out, so he's gonna be on the floor. So we have an officer on the floor.
Right.
Could I just get a breakout room? I've been offered, I've got an offer, Judge. He's got bigger fish to fry, but I'm trying to find out if his license was ever reinstated.
All right. So who is the prosecutor for position 35?
I am, Judge.
All right. Can we place Ms. Rockwell in a breakout room with Prosecutor Reed, please?
And if you could, Mr. Walker in there too, please.
Ian Walker, okay.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jordan, Ian Walker, and Ms. Reed, and Ms. Rockwell. Don't take too long.
We won't, I promise.
All right.
Also, Your Honor, positions 10, 12, no, 10, 11, and 15 have private attorneys as well. I don't know if they're on the line.
All right, Mr. Finling is back. Do you have
Yeah.
any positions from, are we ready to address Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, he's right
Yeah.
here, Judge, position.
All right.
Hernandez.
Excellent timing, Mr. Finling.
That's what I was trying to do.
Thank you,
And
appreciate it.
his, Mr. Hernandez will just be an arraignment judge.
All right. Mr. Soka, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, sir. Excellent, thank you. Mr. Soka, if I may place you under oath, do you solemnly swear and affirm that the translation you provide will be a true and accurate translation with no changes or embellishments?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. We are addressing the state versus Pablo Hernandez, case number 22 CR 006-027A, in which he is charged with simple assault and obstruction of a law enforcement officer from March 23rd, 2022.
Entonces estamos aquí con el señor Pablo Hernández. El número del caso sería 22CR 0060278. Estás aquí por un caso de asalto simple y obstrucción a un policía, un incidente que sucedió el 23 de marzo del 2020.
Mr. Hernandez has a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything that he says can and will be used against him. He has a right to an attorney, and his attorney is Mr. Zach Finling.
El señor Hernández tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio y no decir nada que lo fuera a autoincriminar, y también tiene el derecho de tener un abogado presente, quien es el abogado Finley.
We are going to address Mr. Hernandez not guilty plea to the charges brought against him. Mr. Finling, do you waive a reading of the accusations?
I do, Judge.
Entonces estamos aquí para hablar sobre los cargos contra el señor Hernández y él declararse no culpable. La juez le acaba de preguntar al señor Finley si él quiere que no lean los cargos y el incidente, y él dice que sí, que de acuerdo que no lo lean.
Mr. Hernandez, you are charged with 2 misdemeanor charges, and upon your entry of a not guilty plea, your case will be scheduled for a trial.
Señor Hernández, usted tiene 2 casos menores y como se ha declarado no culpable, iremos a aplazar la audiencia y darle a usted un juicio con un jurado formal.
At the time of the trial, you will be represented by an attorney where the prosecutor would have the complete burden to bring the case to the judge or the jury and prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
En ese juicio, usted estaría representado por un abogado y la fiscal tendría que demostrar toda la evidencia más allá de una duda razonable a un juez o a un jurado.
You do not have any burden to prove anything. It is completely the prosecution's burden of proof.
Usted no tiene que comprobar nada, simplemente es la fiscalía quien tiene que comprobar todos los hechos más allá de una duda contundente.
At the trial, if the prosecution proves the charges beyond a reasonable doubt, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine for each convicted offense.
Si en un juicio la fiscalía puede comprobar más allá de una duda contundente que usted es culpable, usted podría pasar 1 año encarcelado por cada cargo o hasta una multa de $1,000 por cada cargo.
Mr. Hernandez, how do you plead to 1 count of simple assault and 1 count of obstruction of a law enforcement officer?
Señor Hernández, ¿usted cómo se declara al cargo de asalto simple y obstrucción contra un oficial policial? ¿Cómo se declara?
Inocente.
Innocent.
All right, thank you. I will construe that as a not guilty plea. The case has been arraigned and it will be scheduled for trial.
Entonces, bueno, voy a tomar eso como una declaración de no culpable y pondré su caso, iré a aplazar la audiencia hoy y poner su caso para tener un juicio.
That concludes this case.
Eso sería todo por hoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Shaka.
Is that the only interpreter case, I believe?
Mr. Finling, is that the only interpreter case for you?
That is the only interpreter case for me. If Miss Helen has one, I'm aware of.
Miss Helen is in a breakout.
Okay,
Could you
I don't.
text her or
Yeah.
just confirm? Could you hold please for a couple of minutes, Mr. Saka?
I will hold, Your Honor. Not a problem.
Thank you. Mr. Finley, once you confirm that she doesn't need an interpreter, we can release Mr. Soka.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna
Thank you.
text you right now.
All right,
And we do position 10 and 11, Judge.
all right, I'm sorry, repeat the name again.
Position 10 and 11.
10 and
Rodney Wood.
11. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Rodney Williams on behalf of Keith Elam.
All right, thank you, sir. This is Keith Wilson Elam Jr., and he has 2 cases before us. Mr. Elam, my name is Judge Law, and we're going to be addressing your 2 cases. First of all, I'd like to remind you that you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything that you say, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Rodney Williams. I know you're using an iPhone. Can you see your attorney on the screen? Mr.
ma'am.
Williams, if you can wave your hand. Do you see him? All right, great. Mr. Williams, how are we proceeding with your client's case?
Your Honor, I just received discovery in this case yesterday. I'd asked for an opportunity to review it before making any decisions about resolution. As it is, Judge, Mr. Elam is before Judge Belinda Edwards this morning in a Superior Court matter.
All right.
We are set to resolve that matter today, and then we will, pivot back to the misdemeanor, but I doubt anything will be done today in the case.
All right, it appears there's a global offer for both these cases. You may want to consult with Assistant Prosecutor Delania King. Do you see her on the screen?
I do.
All right, so,
Hey, Ms. King.
yeah, thank you,
Good
Mr.
morning.
Soka. You're free to go. Thank you. All right, so if you want to reach out to Ms. King to see what the offer is, I can reset the case to next Thursday for a plea, if that's what you'd like to do.
I will speak with Ms. King, and then I'll be in a position to tell you exactly how we'll proceed by next Thursday, Judge. Ms. King, is it just going to be first name dot last name at Fulton County GA.gov?
That is correct.
Okay. I will take care of it, Judge.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Ms. King is not gonna be here next week, so Mr. Williams, if you could just email me instead.
I'll do it.
It'll probably be
Same
more
thing, Mr.
efficient.
Walker.
Yeah.
First and last name.
Ian.Walker@fultoncountyga.gov.
I'll do
Parentheses,
it,
the
Judge.
boss. Okay, no. Okay. All right. Okay, so Mr. Williams, your client is on the sheriff's iPhone. So I don't want to keep them holding on that screen. So do you want to reset, or I need to know whether you want to reset so you can address your plea? Because you're waiting for the outcome of the hearing in Superior Court, right?
Yes, Judge. Essentially, I'll take the reset for next Thursday, work with the state toward resolution, and be in a position to speak intelligently about how we'll proceed by then.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Elam, your attorney is going to readdress these two cases next Thursday, based on his conversation with the prosecutor and also based on the outcome of your other cases. All right? Thank you.
Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Williams, I believe, do you have any other cases with us?
No, Judge, that's it.
All right, that concludes Mr. Elam's cases for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
13.
Position 13, I had. All right, so we have Mr. Cantrell Hall also at the jail court iPhone. Are you Mr. Hall?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is case 22 CR 006084A. Mr. Cantrell, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Zach Finling. This is going to be an arraignment. Mr. Finling, Mr. Cantrell is charged with possession of a pistol by a person under the age of 18 and willful obstruction of an officer from September 9th, 2022. Do you waive a reading of the accusations?
I do.
Mr. Hall, you are charged with these two misdemeanor offenses. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor would have the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt and to overcome your legal presumption of innocence. If the state prevails, you could be convicted of one or more of these charges and sentenced to up to a year in prison and/or up to $1,000 fine for each convicted offense. Given this information, how do you plead?
Not good.
All right, sir. Your case has been arraigned and is further notice for trial. Thank you. That concludes Mr. Hall's case.
Okay.
All right, courtroom 2, who do we have, please? Anyone from positions 1 through 23?
We can do since Mr. Finling is available, we can do position number. Position 8, Mr. Drake.
So I have to finish speak.
Oh, okay.
I have to finish speaking with Mr. Drake. We were in the middle of talking.
All right, do you have anyone else? I have the add-on, Daryl Lee Davis. Is that your case, Mr. Davis, Mr. Finley?
Yes, Judge.
Is Daryl Lee Davis in the courtroom too?
No, Judge, is Miss Helen available?
Now I am.
Okay, Miss Helen is now available. All right, all right. Mr. Finling called the jail to speak to, who was it?
Mr. Drake,
Mr. Drake, okay,
calling now.
thank you. And who do we have in the seat?
This is gonna be position 42, Mr. Wilson.
42. All right. Let's address Mr.
And that's a negotiated plea, Your Honor.
Right, Mr. Dayavante Wilson, middle initial O, case number 21 CR 005-119F. Mr. Wilson, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Wilson is accused of reckless conduct, criminal trespass and damage to property, 3 counts. And that was from July 15th, 2021. Mr. Wilson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Catrice Helen. This is going to be a negotiated plea. So may I place you under oath?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. I understand that the state is going to dismiss count 3 and 4, which leaves 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property and reckless conduct. So we're only dealing with 2 misdemeanor charges. And Ms. Reed, what is the offer for the 2 remaining charges?
Thank you, Judge. Count 1, 12 months to serve 365 days. Credit for time served, 360 days. Count 2 is 12 months served, 365 days. Again, credit for time served, 360 days.
All right.
Miss
And
Reed, your camera's off.
I'm sorry, Mr. Walker?
I was saying Miss Reed's camera is off.
Oh,
I apologize.
that's okay.
Thank you.
I was writing it down, so I'm sorry, I didn't see that. All right. Well, I recognized her voice, so I have no doubt it was her telling me what the plea offer is. Miss Reed, does he have any other matters holding him there?
Appreciate it.
No, I do not believe he has any matters holding him in Fulton County.
Okay. Miss Helen, does your client accept those terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for the 2 charges being addressed?
I do, Judge, and so does he.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, have you consumed any alcohol or medication recently?
No.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
And you do understand that if you take this plea today, and if you have no other matters holding you in jail, you should be released within 24 hours. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And do you also understand that you would have to give up your right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to have the assistance of counsel so that you could confront your accuser and examine witnesses, challenge the state's evidence and present your own defenses, or have the state try to prove all 4 charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Do you understand that?
Yes.
How do you plead to 1 count of reckless conduct and 1 count of criminal trespass causing damage to property?
Guilt.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 360 days, credit for time served, well, on both charges, 360 days, which means that your obligations for both these charges are completed. And like I said, you should be released within 24 hours unless there are any other holds. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And
Thank you,
Judge,
Judge.
I am ready to move forward on Mr. Drake, position 8.
All right.
Judge, while we're doing that, we're gonna, with Mr. Stewart, we are gonna ask that we reset to next Thursday. We've got some additional information we're gonna follow up on, and we'll make an announcement at that time.
All right, Mr. Stewart is reset to 9:29. And I'm so sorry, that was position number, getting to it, position 38, reset 9:29. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Drake has been advised of his right to remain silent, and his attorney is Mr. Zach Finley. He has 1 case with us, position 8, 22 CR 006238B. Mr. Keenan George Drake is accused of theft by taking from another case, 22 CR 001715B. And in the current case ending in 6238B, he's accused of willful obstruction, expired tag, and no insurance. So we're addressing both cases. Is this the global offer?
It is, Your Honor.
All right.
And
So
Judge,
Yep.
sorry, I do have one thing. So there is a fleeing and eluding from the same offense date, which is a misdemeanor as well. That's not on here. And then
Is that a separate case or is that a missing charge from one of these
So-
cases?
I believe it's a missing charge, and I'm also showing he has another misdemeanor hit and run. So I just wanted to see if there's any way we could hear those, or
Absolutely. Do you have the case number?
yeah, let me.
I only have these two cases
I'm
unless,
just so it's on his jailing, so I'm trying to an Odyssey, so I'm trying to.
Okay. I'll be more than happy to let him resolve all if that's what he's wishing to
are you
do.
certain it's not in a Superior Court case?
So it has
It's a grand jury warrant.
it has a M, so which I took to signify. Yeah, it looks like it is. It does have a.
It's an M, but it's part of a grand
Looks like-
jury warrant. It's from a September 16, 2016 incident. Looks like it was all part of the felony charges from September 12, 2016. So I'm looking for another. hit
And I
run.
do see there's
Oh,
another
here it is. Yeah,
22 CR.
so there's a theft by taking, which is the 1715B case. This driving, fleeing, and attempting to elude and hit and run from 10/23/21,
Yes.
both misdemeanors. And then there is these two charges. These three charges, fleeing and, no, willful obstruction, expired tag. Looks like there's also a fleeing and attempting to elude a police officer from March 13. Was that Norcross?
And that March 3rd, that's the offense date of one of the cases that's on.
Right. But
Already.
that's not listed on the calendar.
It's not listed, Judge. And then yeah, that other misdemeanor case, yeah, so it's 22 CR 002276B.
Repeat again, 22
Yeah.
CR
22
00.
CR 002276B.
It says closed transfer. Let me see. And
All right, y'all need to look at those cases and figure out how you want to proceed with the plea. Looks like we're missing a charge from the current case, 6238B. We have a separate case, 22 CR 002267. That's too many numbers.
let me see what it says in case manager.
All right, I'm not gonna waste time on SAP to figure that out. We'll take another case, Francois, because he's got too many charges with multiple cases, and they need to figure that out before we take a plea.
Okay,
Understood.
position one, Mr. Almond.
Okay. Andre Allman, case number 22 CR 006082C, accused of loitering and prowling, fraudulent driver's license or identification card, and false statements in certain applications from September 9th, 2022. Mr. Allman, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Zach Finling. May I place you under oath for the plea hearing? Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Thank you. All right, Ms. King, what is the plea offer for these three charges?
It is time served 13 days.
Okay, 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days. Balance suspended. How's that?
Sounds great to me, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Finling, does your client accept these terms and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID?
Yes, Judge, we do accept these terms and do so stipulate.
Have you gone over the waiver of rights and explained to him that he'll be waiving his rights if he decides to enter this plea?
I have, Judge.
All right. Mr. Almond, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No,
And
ma'am.
are you satisfied with your attorney?
Completely.
And have you sat down with him and gone over the list of rights that you would be having, that you would have to give up if you decide to enter this plea?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
And have you understood his explanations?
Yes.
And do you agree to give up the rights that you and he have discussed?
Yes.
Are you entering a plea freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes.
How do you plead to the 3 charges I've just listed?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days. Your jail time is over. The remainder of the time is suspended. That concludes and closes out your case. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Bullard, that's position 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Position 2 has been released. Mr. Bullitt, we are going to be addressing a global offer. Is that correct, Ms. King?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. So global offer means it's going to be one sentence that's going to apply to the 4 cases pending against you. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Anthony Bullitt, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts, your statements can and will be used against you, even in a plea hearing. You have a right to an attorney, and Mr. Zach Finling will be representing you. First case is 20 CR 001844Y from August 27, 2016, in which Mr. Bullitt is accused of failure, 2 counts, failure to quarantine. Position number 4 is 20 CR 001846Y, 2 counts of failure to quarantine. Third case is 20 CR 001849Y, 2 counts of failure to quarantine. And position 6 is 2 counts of cruelty to animals from July 29, 2022, case number 22 CR 005905Y. With respect to each of these cases, there are 2 charges. Counts 2 will merge into count 1 for all 4 cases. So that means you'll be pleading to only 1 count in each of these cases. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Ms. King, what is the plea offer for all 4 charges in each of these 4 cases?
It is 12 months to serve 44 days, credit for time served 22 days with the balance probated, a $750 fine or 75 hours of community service, complete the BARC, B-A-R-C Animal Cruelty Online course, and the defendant may not own animals or have any animals in his household for a period of 1 year. The state also requests no early termination of probation.
All right. Mr. Finling, which option has your client decided to go with? A $750 fine or 75 hours of community service?
Yes,
Or-
Judge. So Mr. Bullard has decided he wants to do the 75 hours of community service. And I
Alright.
did explain to him, obviously, there would be no early termination, and he did understand the course as well. And we have agreed to those terms, Judge. We just asked that the probation fees could be waived for him for a period of time.
All right. And I'm going to restrict the option of doing community service at any location where animals are housed. So he won't be able to go to any kind of animal rescue or any kind of charity that deals with pets or animals.
Understood, Judge.
All right. All right, Mr. Bullard, have you consumed, oh, I'm sorry, and you did stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID for all 4 charges, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Bullock, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And has your attorney explained to you that you would have to do the community service at a nonprofit agency, but but right now I'm restricting it to any nonprofit agency that does not have any pets or animals.
I understand, Your Honor.
So no, SPCA, no animal rescue, no, I can't remember, what was it? Pause, something. There are lots of them. I can't think, I can only think of two off the top of my head. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Bullitt, are you entering a plea of guilty to the 4 charges freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in the plea of guilty.
All right. If you decide to take this plea, you would have, enter this plea, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to be able to have the assistance of counsel to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 3 counts of failure to quarantine and 1 count of cruelty to animals in these 4 cases?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Your sentence will apply to all 4 charges in the 4 cases, and they are 12 months to serve 44 days, credit for time served 22 days. Your jail time is concluded, and you should be released within 24 hours. Once you're released, you must report to probation at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta, and that must be next Thursday. Today is Thursday, you have to report next Thursday. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Just keep the mask.
While you're on probation, you will complete 75 hours of voluntary community service at nonprofit agencies, as we have discussed. You will complete a BARC, which is an anti-animal cruelty course, and you can do that online at your expense. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
You are not allowed to own any kind of animal, pet, anything within your household for 1 year. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You will report to probation every month for the rest of, it'll be for the remaining 11 months. And I will waive your probation fees through the end of the year.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. That concludes this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I have an update regarding position 8. I see an order that was signed by Judge Williams on May 19th of 2022, transferring the 22 CR 002-276B, the fleeing and the
Hit and run.
hit and run, yes, been transferred to the district attorney's office.
All right. Who do we
But
have in
my-
courtroom 2, please?
This is position 19, Mr. Johnson.
That's Mr. Findling's case, and then after that, we will address Mr. Drake. Mr. Findling, please, when we address your Mr. Drake, please advise me if you still want to proceed with the plea, okay?
Okay, we'll do, Judge.
Okay, position 19 is Antonio Johnson. Is that correct, sir? Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Johnson, this is going to be a plea hearing. Let me go ahead and place you under oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the test? Raise your right hand. Right hand, the other right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We are addressing your case in which you were accused of criminal trespass on August 18, 2019. And your attorney is going to be Mr. Zach Findling. And remember your right to remain silent, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, Ms. King, what is the offer?
It is time served 25 days and a stay away from the Express Food and Pharmacy located at 50 Upper Alabama Street Southwest.
Express Food and Pharmacy at 50 Upper Alabama Street in Southwest Atlanta. Is that around the 5 Points area?
It is correct, Your Honor.
Oh, not 5 points, underground area.
Yes.
Underground. Okay, all right. All right, Mr. Finling, does your client accept those terms and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID?
We do accept the terms, Judge, and do so stipulate.
All right, and so you understand the sentence will be 12 months to serve, 50 days credit for time served, 25 days balance suspended. Because
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Champion looks at me with evil eye if I don't say that. All right,
Yes, understood, Judge.
all right, Mr. Johnson, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood your attorney's explanations and are you satisfied with his services?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that you cannot return to the underground area, especially at that Express Food and Pharmacy store on Upper Alabama Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Because if they see you, the first thing they're gonna do is call the cops.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you entering your plea freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand that you will not be able to go back to court to have a trial, to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the evidence presented by the state, or have the state trying to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Yes, ma'am.
Repeat.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, nope, you have to stop the yes ma'am now and listen very carefully. How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass at the Express Food and Pharmacy store?
Yes.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 50 days, credit for time served 25 days. Your jail time is over. The remainder of your time is suspended, but you cannot return to that store.
Okay,
Best of luck. Thank you.
thank you.
Position 14, Henderson.
All right. Daryl Henderson is accused of theft by receiving stolen property, driving with an expired expired or no license plate or decal, and an obscured license plate. Case number 22 CR 006086A. This is from a September 9th, 2022 incident. Mr. Henderson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Finling. I understand this is going to be a negotiated plea. May I place you under oath?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Thank you. Ms. King, what is the offer for Mr. Henderson?
It is 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days with the balance probated, a theft class, and 40 hours of community service.
Mr. Finling, are these the terms to which your clients agreed, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
These are the terms that we are agreeing to, Judge, and do so stipulate. Would just ask that once Mr. Henderson does complete the conditions of the theft class and the community service, if he could be on non-reporting, and also since he does have financial issues in his life, if the probation fees could be waived for a period of time.
All right, I'll waive probation fees to the end of the year. And Ms. King, any objection to termination of probation?
No objection to termination due to his limited criminal history, and it's pretty far removed as well.
All right, thank you. Mr. Henderson, have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood your attorney and he's satisfied with the services?
Yes, ma'am.
And he's gone over the waiver of rights with you, and do you accept the waiver of rights as explained to you?
Yes, I do.
And do you have any questions about those waiver of rights?
No, ma'am.
And how do you plead to one count of theft by receiving stolen property, driving in an expired or no license plate, and an obscured license plate?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days. You'll report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street. You will have to complete an anti-theft class and do 40 hours of community service at any nonprofit agency, which is not a school and not a religious organization. You can do community service at any animal rescue or pet related issue place, okay? Once you've completed the community service and the anti-theft class, your probation will terminate. So I'm going to waive your probation fees till the end of the year. This is your huge incentive to get everything wrapped up by Christmas.
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck. Thank you.
Position 40 and 41, Mr. Thompson.
And if, while Miss Helen is handling this, if I could, I'm gonna call and speak to Mr. Drake just briefly.
Excellent. All right, thank you. This is Laquan Thompson, cases number 21 CR 004579A, accused of criminal trespass from July 8th, 2020. And second case is 22 CR 0030968, accused of theft by taking and simple battery from July 3rd, 2020. Mr. Thompson, these are the three charges brought against you in these two cases. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Catrice Helen. I understand this is a negotiated plea for both cases. May I place you under oath?
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Reed, what is the offer for Mr. Thompson?
Okay, for position 40, the offer is 12 months, serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance suspended, stay away from the incident location, which is the Lindbergh MARTA station, 2424 Piedmont Road, Northeast Atlanta.
What do you mean, one on, there's only one.
All right. And I had a question. So this was from 2020. I don't know if his suspension is still in place. So do you still want him to stay away from Lindbergh for an indefinite period of time?
No, I guess if the suspension's not still in place, the state will agree that he can go there.
I can do a stay away from MARTA in accordance with any active suspension, and that would, if he doesn't have a suspension, then he can use MARTA legally.
Thank you, Judge. That would work.
Okay. And what was the offer for position 41?
Okay, the offer for 41 is 12 months, serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance probated, and a theft class. For count 2, it's 12 months, serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance probated, and no further contact. No further contact with Lena Perez, that's the victim in the case. A stay away from the Subway restaurant at 3379 Main Street in College Park, and a 6-week anger management class. And count 2 is to run concurrent with count 1.
All right. And Miss Helen, do you have any objection to stay away from MARTA in accordance with any active suspension, first of all?
I do not, Judge. I'm just asking for the probation fees to be waived for the probated sentence for position 41. And if the state's amenable, if he can be non-reporting once he completes the conditions.
Non-reporting, Ms. Reed?
No objection from the state.
All right, thank you. Mr. Thompson, have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood and are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And are you entering a plea freely, knowingly, and voluntarily to these two cases?
Yes.
And has it been explained to you that if you decide to enter a plea to these 3 charges in these 2 cases, that you would have to give up your rights to go back to court, to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's evidence, examine witnesses, confront your accuser, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
In position 40, how do you plead to criminal trespass from July 8th, 2020? Repeat.
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days. The remainder of your sentence is suspended. You are to stay away from the MARTA property in accordance with any active suspension they may have against you. So you would need to contact their main office at Lindbergh Marta Station. Give them your name and identification information to see if there's any active suspensions against you. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So if there is one, you need to stay away until the suspension ends. With regards to position 41, the charge of theft by taking and simple battery, how do you plead?
Guilty.
For those, the sentences are going to be as follows. It's going to be 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days. And then you will be on probation. You will report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Your probation fees shall be waived from now until the end of February 2023. So I recommend that you use that time to complete your 6 weeks of anger management. And I think that was the only class you had to take. And you'll have to do that at your own expense. If you complete the classes by the end of February, then your probation will be non-reporting. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
At all times, whether you're on active or non-reporting probation, you have to have no contact with Lisa Perez, and you have to stay away from the Subway restaurant at 3379 Main Street in College Park.
Yes, ma'am.
They have 999 Subway restaurants. That's the one you can't go to. Okay?
All right.
Sounds like a deal. Thank you. That concludes your case.
Thank you, Judge.
Is that Mr. Drake?
Yes, it is, Judge. Position 8.
Mr. Finling, what's the announcement?
Yes, Judge, we are going to move forward with a guilty plea. It'll be a negotiated plea.
All right.
There's been a
Mr.
slight modification due to an additional case that was found by my colleague ASG Reed.
Okay, tell me about the modification.
So now will be time served 233 days. It will be including a shoplifting charge 14 CR 012571.
I'm sorry, 14 CR?
012571.
All right, and this was a theft by shoplifting?
That's correct.
Yes, Judge, from 2014, and I did just review that with him.
Okay, and what's the incident date? Could someone give me that?
Yes, it is December. Was it? Yes, December 19th of 2014.
And that's a concurrent global offer time served as well, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor. And it would just be a stay away attached to that as well.
From 2014, is the place still in business?
It's a Walmart, Your Honor.
Oh, it's still in business, okay. All right, Mr. Drake, you've already been advised of your right to remain silent. You know your attorney is Mr. Zach Hinling, and we are addressing a plea, possible plea hearing for 3 separate cases. 22 CR 006238B, willful obstruction of an officer, expired tag or unregistered vehicle and no insurance. And the second case, which is 22 CR 001715B, theft by taking. And the third case is 14 CR 012571, theft by shoplifting. These are the 3 cases. Has your attorney gone over the 3 cases with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you still willing to enter a plea of guilty to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. May I place you under oath? I don't recall if I did. Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I'll do.
Thank you. Ms. King, what is the global offer for the 3 cases?
It will be time served 233 days, a stay away and no further contact. The 2 stay away addresses are from the Walmart located at 4735 Service Road 138 in Union City. The second is, where is it? 3330 Ethan Allen Drive. And the no further contact is the victim of that case, Derrick Hansford, DERRICK, last name HANSFORD.
Hansberg, you say Hansberg?
Hansford.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Finling, you've gone over the three cases. Have you explained the terms of the plea offer and does he accept those terms?
Yes, Judge, I did go over the three cases with him. He does agree to the terms and do stipulate the factual basis, venue and ID, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Drake, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No,
And have you understood what your attorney has explained to you and the consequences and so forth?
yes, ma'am.
And are you entering a plea of guilty to these charges freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No, ma'am.
If you decide to take this plea, you would have to give up your constitutional rights to go back to court and have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. At the time of the trial, you could have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's evidence, present your own defenses, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead?
Guilty.
Let me go through it one by one. I'm so sorry. It's protocol. For the case 14 CR 012571, how do you plead to theft by shoplifting?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 233 days, credit for time served 233 days. Stay away from all stay away from the Walmart store at 4735 Service Road in Union City. Understood?
Understood.
Thank you. For the theft by taking charge in 22 CR 01715B, how do you plead to one count of theft by taking?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve, to serve 233 days, credit for 233 days. Stay away from 3330 Ethan Allen Drive and to have no contact with Derek, I think it's Habsburg. Is that confusing or do you understand that?
I understand.
Oh, okay. And on the third case, 22 CR 006238B, willful obstruction, expired tag or no insurance, how do you plead?
Guilty.
And for that, your sentence is 12 months to serve 233 days, credit for time served 233 days, balance suspended. No driving unless you have a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, proper registration, and an unobscured license plate. Understood?
Understood.
Good luck, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Position 37, Stanley.
Darren Stanley is accused of driving without a valid license and simple battery in 17 CR 028148E from July 21st, 2016. Mr. Stanley, you've been advised of your right to remain silent and your attorney is Ms. Catrice Helen. This is going to be an arraignment, and Ms. Helen, do you waive a reading of the accusation?
I do, Judge.
All right. Mr. Stanley, these are the two misdemeanor charges that have been brought against you.
I apologize for interrupting. It's an arraignment and a bond hearing, Your Honor.
Okay. On the driving without a valid license, the state is offering time served. And the battery is 8-week anger management. No further contact. And a release within 24 hours. Have you discussed this plea offer with him?
I have, Judge. He also has another case holding him.
I see. Okay. All right. Mr. Stanley, this is an arraignment, which means that upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the state would have the complete burden to prove the two misdemeanor charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state prevails, you could be convicted of one or more of these charges and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead? Repeat?
Not guilty.
Not guilty, okay? So your case has been arraigned and it's going to be further notice for trial. Go ahead with the bond hearing, motion, Mr. Helen.
Yes, can I have pretrial read his history, please?
All right, Mr. Tucson, we're looking at position 37, Darren, Darrin Stanley. And this is the bench warrant of. All right, go ahead.
Check your chat, Judge.
All right. All right. Mr. Helen, he's got an open case in DeKalb for a CWAC matter that I'm going to waive sounding.
Understood, Judge.
Anything else? What are the reasons?
Right, well, when I went and spoke to Mr. Stanley, he's taking this case to a full jury trial, Judge, and so at this point, he has a $3,000 cash bond. I believe there's a zero bond on the driving without a valid license and a $3,000 cash for the battery. Judge, we're asking for a bond modification to a $3,000 surety of the same amount. Mr. Stanley is 38 years old. He is a lifetime resident of Fulton County of Georgia. He does have strong family ties here, has had no contact, Judge, no contact with the alleged accuser. In fact, Judge, he transferred in from the GDC and has had no contact with that individual. So, Judge, we are asking for that bond modification to a $3,000 surety for Mr. Stanley.
And do we have a current address on him, or is he going to be detained at a different jurisdiction?
Judge, I do only have the Rice Street Jail address. Mr. Stanley, do you have another address other than the Blacktop Way, Fairburn?
Yes. Yes.
Can you go ahead and give me that address?
My parole address, I don't know it offhand. The address.
Okay, Judge, he only has the parole address, so there's.
Okay. Understood. Thank you. Ms. King?
This is mine, Your Honor.
Ms. Reed? Okay, so there is, I've already announced the open case in DeKalb. I'm waiving sounding. Other than that, do you have any objection to modification to a surety bond on this bench warrant?
No objection. I was going to ask for, actually, I was going to ask for $4,000 surety bond. That's what Judge Morrison initially had in place. He has missed court twice. He's got an FTA from February 13th, 2018, and an FTA and he made bond on that one, and then a FTA on September 6th, 2019. So the state was going to ask for 1,000 surety as it relates to count 1, 3,000 surety for count 2.
All right. Any rebuttal, Ms. Helen?
Yes, Judge. Again, when I spoke to Mr. Stanley, he wasn't able to make the $3,000 cash. He's able to make a $3,000 surety. Like I said, he has had no contact with the alleged accuser from this case, will not have any, Judge. And so we are looking for that bond modification of the $3,000 surety. He is a lifetime resident of Fulton County and does have strong family ties here. And Judge, he does have that other hold, but he does know to appear to all of his court dates. And I do believe he will do that from where he's at.
All right. Yes, Mr. Walker, did you want to chime in too?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
No. I think it's under control.
On driving without a valid license is 500. On the battery is 2,500. That's a 3,000 surety bond. He is to have no further contact with the alleged victim in this case. And can you give me a moment, please? Unless Ms. King or Ms. Reed is faster with that,
Do you need the victim's name?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's Janika Wiggins, and that's spelled Jahnika, Wiggins, common spelling.
Okay. All right, Ms. Helen will send us a proposed bond order modifying the bond. So again, it's a $3,000 surety bond. No further contact with Janika Wiggins. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. He will comply with keeping his address current with the court at all time. And he will comply with all other bond orders and restrictions and stayaways in all other open cases against him. All right. In this case, it's further notice for trial.
Understood, Judge. Thank
Thank you, Judge.
Any other cases in courtroom 2?
Position 31, Russell.
Okay. I'm just going to mute the screen for a second, please. All right, I beg pardon. This is position 37, was it?
Position 31, Mr. Russell.
31, excuse me. All right. This is Darius Contreras Russell, case number 22 CR 006-036J. Mr. Russell is accused of theft by taking and violation of certain rules at the bus, rail, or station location from September 7th, 2022. Position 31 is going to be a non-negotiated plea. There seems to be an issue with the 4-week anger management.
And Judge, our only concession with that is that he has lost 2 jobs. He is severely unemployed, has no income. Can that be commuted to 40 hours of community service if the state is amenable?
Ms. King?
It's my case, Judge.
Oh, Ms. Reed? Yes.
We would be agreeable for 40 hours community service.
All right, and just like that, it changes to a negotiated plea.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Russell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Catrice Helen. Excuse me. Oh, one more. Excuse me. All right. Mr. Russell, may I place you under oath?
Yes.
Thank you. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Russell, we're first going to hear from the attorney, and then I'll hear from your attorney. First, I'm going to hear from the prosecutor, then I'm going to hear from your attorney. Ms. Reed, what is the plea offer for the 2 charges?
It's 12 months, serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance probated, stay away from MARTA if MARTA has that in place, and no further contact with the victim, Roy Scott Jr., common spelling, and 40 hours community service. And we're agreeing to that because he does not have a violent criminal past.
Thank you. Ms. Helen?
Yes, Judge, that is our understanding of the plea. We do accept it. We do stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID. It is a probated sentence, Judge, so can we have those remaining 3 months waived?
Okay. I'll waive probation fees to the end of the year. If he completes the 40 hours community service, the probation will be terminated or non-reporting, Ms. Reed?
If he completes it in time, yes.
Terminate then?
Yes, if he completes it.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right, Mr. Russell, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
Well, Ms. Helen, you did stipulate, right, to factual basis, venue and ID?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Russell, are you satisfied with your attorney?
Completely.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
If you decide to take this plea, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court and have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will
And
not be able,
Now,
okay, you,
please have the plea, recanted to me, like what do I have to complete?
Oh, she'll give you the conditions. Just let her talk to you, okay?
All right, thank you.
well, the conditions, Mr. Russell, before I move on, is that you will be on probation. I will waive your probation fees till the end of the year. That means till the end of 2022. And while you, once you're released, you'll be on probation to make sure that you complete 40 hours of voluntary community service with any nonprofit agency. If you complete that by Christmas, your probation will end. Those are the conditions.
Okay, agreed.
Okay, so let me find out also whether you agree to waive your right to go back to court and have a trial, to have the assistance of counsel to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the state's evidence, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you agree to waive these constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of theft by taking and with regard to certain acts at a bus, rail, or station?
Guilty as charged, Your Honor.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. You will have to report to probation next Thursday. Once you're on probation, you will have to make sure that you complete 40, that's 40 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency. And once you complete that, your probation will terminate. I will waive your probation fees till the end of this year. So if you complete the nonprofit stuff by the end of this year, then your probation will terminate. Understood?
Understood.
All right. Now, you're gonna have to stay away from MARTA in accordance with any active suspension they have against you. So if they have a suspension right now, you can't use MARTA. You also have to stay away from Roy Scott Jr. I suspect he's an employee of MARTA.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. That concludes your case.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Position 25, Mr. Meadows.
April, I think I got all these pages. 25, and that's still Miss Helen's case. And that is going to be a
non-negotiated plea, Judge.
All right, let's see. This is Joseph Meadows, case number 22 CR 0060461, accused of loitering and prowling and criminal trespass. Looks like they're asking for you to report to probation every month for the next 11 months and to stay away from the incident location. And what is the, Mr. Meadows, I've already advised you of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Helen. And I just need to know What is the issue with balance probated versus balance suspended?
Well, Judge, there's,
I'm also gonna ask Ms. Reed first.
Okay, well, we have an issue just because he's had 32 cycles. Based on what he's being accused for now, looking into dozen cars. For this, with this instance, you know, he's had other entering auto cases where he pled guilty to. He's had one in 2021, which he's on probation for now. He's also had possession of tools, which was a felony case here in Fulton County in 2015. So, you know, for those reasons, we just don't think 16 days for this charge is enough just for balance probated. I'm sorry, for balance suspended. We are asking for probation.
All right. I'm gonna waive probation fees for 12 months, but he has to report and he has to stay away from that 211 Colonial Homes Drive, that whole location. Would that be a problem, Ms. Helen?
Mr. Meadows, they're gonna have you on probation, but they're waiving the probation fees. Is this something you want to accept today?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so it's now a negotiated plea. Mr. Meadows, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony provided is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Reed, well, I just read the offer, was 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days. He'll be on probation for the next 11 months, and he needs to stay away from 211, what's it, 211?
It's 211 Colonial Homes Drive. I believe that's Heritage Place condominiums.
Heritage Place condominiums. So he needs to stay away from the entire complex. Okay. All right. Ms. Helen, does your client accept those terms, and do you stipulate to factual basis, venue, and ID?
He does, Judge, and I do stipulate.
All right, thank you. Mr. Meadows, you've been advised by your attorney. Have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, I haven't.
And you've spoken to your attorney, and now today you've heard the offer as well. Are you in full agreement with the terms?
Yes, I am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
If you decide to take this plea offer, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court and have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You would not be able to confront your accuser or examine witnesses, challenge the state's evidence, or present your own defenses, if any. You'll also have to give up your right to have the state try to prove the two charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, I am.
And how do you plead to one count of loitering and prowling and one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence will be concurrent for both charges. It is 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days. Today is Thursday. Next Thursday, you will have to report to probation at 132 Mitchell Street. You understand, sir?
Yes, I do.
And when you report, make sure you give them all your current contact information. And you will continue to report to probation every month, just to make sure that you are in compliance and that you don't get in trouble with the law again. You are also to stay 200 yards away from the entire complex known as the Heritage Place condominiums. 200 yards is the length of 2 football fields. So that's quite a distance. Understood?
Understood.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Welcome. Medical, who do we have, please?
We got position 14, Myers on the competency calendar.
Okay. 43. Did you say, what's that number again?
14.
14, I'm sorry, I heard 43. I was like, whoa, that's a long time. All right. Who's represent, Mr. Howard, do you represent Mr. Myers?
I do, Judge.
All right, and do we need a breakout?
No, Judge, we can just do a regular plea.
Okay, so this is position 14, 22 CR 0025228, State versus Shyam Myers. Mr. Myers, can you see me, sir?
Yes, I can see you.
Thank you. My name is Judge Lal, and we are addressing your case in which you've been accused of criminal trespass and certain prohibited acts at a bus, rail, or station on April 14th, 2022. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements will be used against you. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are represented by an attorney. Your attorney is Mr. Derek Howard. He's in the gray suit with a red tie. Do you see him?
Yes, I see him.
All right, great. So, Mr. Howard, how are we proceeding?
Judge, this is a negotiated plea.
All right. Mr. Myers, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the information or the statements you make will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, what are the terms of the plea?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Myers will be pleading guilty to one count of certain acts on MARTA. We're going to merge the count of criminal trespass into the certain acts. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 300 days, credit for time served, 150 days, balance suspended with the condition of complying with any active MARTA suspensions.
Thank you. Mr. Howard?
Yes, Judge, that is the plea as we negotiated it. We'd ask the court to accept the plea.
All right, thank you. Mr. Myers, have you consumed, Mr. Howard, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID?
We do, Judge.
All right.
Yes.
So, Mr. Myers, we're going to consider only one charge, whether you want to plead guilty to violation to certain prohibited acts at a bus or rail station. Understood?
Yes.
And have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
Are you satisfied with your attorney, Mr. Derek Howard?
Yes.
And have you understood the terms that he has explained to you? And have you understood what's going on so far?
So far, I understand. I don't know. You say you're only accepting one charge?
One charge. The other charge is going to disappear, criminal trespass.
Okay, thank you.
And if you decide to plead guilty to that one charge of certain prohibited acts, you will have to give up your right to go back to court and have a trial. You will not be able to sit in a courtroom and challenge the state's evidence, examine witnesses, have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of certain prohibited acts at a bus or rail station?
Guilty.
Your
Guilty as
sentence,
charged, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, repeat.
Guilty as charged, Your Honor.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 300 days, credit for time served 150 days. Your jail time for this case is over.
Okay.
You can use MARTA as long as you don't have any suspensions against you.
Okay.
So you should check with the Lindbergh MARTA headquarters, give them your name, and tell them you want to check and see whether there are any active suspensions.
Okay.
All right?
So does
You
this
might-
mean I'm going home?
Mr. Howard, does he have
Yes,
any
Judge, he
other-
doesn't have any other holes. Yeah.
Okay, you will be released within 24 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. I think I'm concluded with courtroom 2. I'm going to South Annex. South
Good af-
Annex, yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. I see 4 ladies there. I'd just like to remind them that they have a right to remain silent about the facts of their cases. Anything they say during the course of this proceeding, their statements can and will be used against them. They also have a right to an attorney, and they will be represented by either a public defense attorney or a private attorney if they have a retained one. So who are we addressing first, Deputy Milton?
Coming up is position number 9, Ms. Bonita Durham.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. I knew I forgot one. Okay, let's go to position 24, Anne McGee. No?
24, okay.
No, hold on. It's more than I thought.
Well, let's bring the first lady up front and.
Okay, Ms. Katina Randolph.
Oh, Ms. Randolph, okay. Katina Randolph is position 30. Are you Miss Katina Randolph?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Randolph, my name is Judge Lal, and I've advised you of your right to remain silent and your right to an attorney. Your case number is 22 CR 006-217E. You've been accused of theft by shoplifting from July 20th, 2022. Your attorney is going to be Miss Catrice Helen. And I'm sorry, I just want to check and see, this is going to be a negotiated plea, which means that, may I place you under oath for purposes of the plea?
Okay.
Raise your right hand. All right, that's good. Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. You may lower your hands. Thank you. Ms. Reed, what's the offer, please?
The offer is 12 months, served 20 days, credit for time served 10 days, balance probated, a theft class, and a stay away from the incident location, which is 4735 State Route 138. That's in Union City, and it's a Walmart.
Okay.
Okay. And Ms. Helen, has your client agreed to these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
She agrees, Judge. I also stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID. And since it's a probated sentence, we're asking for those probation fees to be waived, Your Honor. And once she completes that theft class, if it can be non-reported.
Any objection to non-reporting?
No objection from the state.
All right, I'll waive probation fees till the end of the year, so she has the next 3 months to complete the anti-theft class. But she'll need to stay away from Walmart for the next 11.5 months. Understood? Okay. All right, Ms. Randolph, have you taken any alcohol or medication recently?
No.
And have you understood your attorney, and are you satisfied with her services?
Yes.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea to this charge, it will be a theft by shoplifting conviction on your record. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And if you have 3 or more such convictions, the 4th one will automatically be a felony. Has that been explained to you?
Yes.
Okay. Also, if you decide to take this plea, you would have to give up your right to go back to court and have a trial, be able to confront your accuser or challenge the state's evidence, examine or cross-examine witnesses, present any defenses you may have, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to 1 count of theft by shoplifting?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 20 days, credit for time served 10 days. Once you are released from the jail, which is the next 24 hours, you will then report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street. Understood?
Understood.
While you're on probation, I will waive your probation fees till the end of the year.
Okay.
During this time, you should complete your anti-theft class. If you complete your anti-theft class before the end of the year, then your probation will be non-reporting. But if you put it off till next year, then you will start paying probation fees from January 1st onwards. Understood?
Understood.
All right. And you need to stay away from the Walmart at 4735 State Route 138 for the next 11.5 months.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next we have Ms. Hendricks. She is position number 4.
Mr. Finling, are you available?
Yes, Judge, this is a private attorney case.
Oh, it is? Okay.
And I have it as position 15.
All right, position 15, let's go with that. Ms. Hendricks, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and you have a right to an attorney from the public defender's office if you cannot afford one, but I've been advised that you have a private attorney. What's your attorney's name?
Mr. Cohen.
Steve Cohen.
Keith Cohen,
Yeah, Mr. Cohen.
Cohen?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
It's not Michael Cohen, is it?
Yeah, as I know, it's Cohen. The last name is Cohen.
Understand, but the
And
first
I-
name is Keith, or I know Michael Cohen, so,
Yeah, because I think it's Steve Cohen.
I think it's COWAN. And Judge,
Yeah.
I actually
Oh, Keith.
I actually just spoke with him and sent him the Zoom invite.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell him that, yeah.
All
his
right.
position's-
Your attorney is not on the Zoom yet, so I'm going to wait, see
Okay.
whether he shows up, okay?
Okay.
All right.
He's
Can I take
logging
the
in
next?
now, Judge.
Oh, he's chiming in right.
Your Honor. Your Honor.
Did the judge disappear?
I think so. I think she froze or.
Okay.
Because I'm the host now, so.
I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn that over to someone else.
Okay. Everyone just please stand by.
And Ms. King, just so you'll know, I'm here for Nakiba Kendricks.
Oh, awesome.
Hendricks.
Have you already received the offer?
I have not.
Okay. I'll send it to you now.
Thank you.
I'm gonna call Mr. Jordan and see what's going on.
Ms. King,
Yes,
I think that's acceptable if it's a 2-for-1
It
matter.
is.
Obviously, she's got some really serious medical issues.
correct. Okay. Do you need a moment to speak with her or?
If we could go into a breakout room just to let me do that, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
And I've got to be, I know everybody's got to be somewhere, and I apologize, but I've got to be in Hall County in just a little while and need to leave as soon as I can. Got a 1:30 calendar there.
Attorney Cohen would like to go into a breakout room with his client to discuss the offer. If someone can assist with that.
He can, here at the Sun Annex. He can, good morning, Mr. Cohen, you can call 404-613-7122 to speak with Ms. Sparks.
I'll do that, Judge. Thank you so much.
Okay, and while we're doing that, we can go to the next person. Ms. Simmons?
All right, I do apologize. We had a little internet bleep, but looks like we're back on. Who are we addressing next, Debbie Milton?
Ms. Simmons?
Simmons, okay. Simmons, and she is right here. Miss Helen, this is Kenyatta Monique Simmons, is that correct? Position 32.
Okay, she's right here.
Miss Simmons, can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Miss Simmons, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Catrice Helen. This is going to be a negotiated plea. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Miss Simmons' case is 22 CR 006239F, accused of battery from April 24th, 2022. Miss Simmons, this is going to be a plea hearing. So I'm going to have the prosecutor let me know what is the offer they're making. Miss King? We had an internet issue. There we go. Miss Reed? Yes, sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state recommends a 12 months to serve 296 days, credit for time served 148 days, balance suspended. And I had a question about the stay away. I believe the incidents happened at her address, so we're not asking for that. But we are asking for a no further contact with KS. And our understanding is that the victim lives with other relatives.
Okay. I don't know what the situation is, and given the extent of time,
Judge, that's also my understanding too, that he has been placed at another address. He no longer resides at that stay away address.
okay. All right, then we can do the no further contact with K. Second letter is S. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Nothing further from the state.
Miss Helen, does your client accept the terms, and do you stipulate to factual basis, venue, and ID?
She does, Your Honor, and we do stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID.
Thank you. Ms. Simmons, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, Your Honor.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
And has she explained the terms of the plea offer, including staying away from the individual identified as KS?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and if you decide to take this plea, you would have to give up your constitutional right to have a trial. You will not be able to have the assistance of counsel to confront your accuser, challenge the state's evidence, examine witnesses, present any defenses if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you entering a plea freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you plead to one count of battery?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 296 days, credit for time served 148 days. Your jail time is concluded and you will be released within 24 hours. You may return to the incident location, but you cannot have any contact with KS, which means staying 200 yards away from this person and not communicating through any kind of phone, third-party cellular device, or any kind of electronic device, not even on social media. Understood?
I have one question. Is there a time frame for that, or is that permanently?
It is going to be 365 days less 148, so about 200 days.
Okay.
220 days, give or take.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
In Mr. Cohen, good afternoon, good morning. Michael Cohen, is this Ms. Hendricks?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you have anybody else besides Ms. Hendricks right now?
Ms. Spikes.
Let's do Ms. Spikes because Mr. Cohen stepped away from his desk. Valena Elaine Spikes, case number 22 CR 0062168 is 2168 is position 36, accused of simple battery and criminal trespass from August 27th, 2022. This is going to be a non-negotiated plea where 2 weeks of anger management appears to be the issue. Yes, Ms. Helen?
Judge, we only wanted to see if that could be commuted to 20 hours of community service. Again, Ms. Spikes has lost all employment, has no income, and would be easiest accessible for the 20 hours of community service. But she agrees to the other conditions, Judge.
Ms. Reed?
Well, Judge, the state believes that she should do the 2 classes just because she's had some other violence history in her past. She's got a time served where she, just a few months before, out of East Point, a simple battery charge. She also had an aggravated assault charge. She's first offender. Of course, that was 12 years ago, but we'll defer to the court.
I'm going to waive the probation fees up to and including February of 2023. That gives her ample time to get some funding and complete the 2 weeks of anger management. After she completes the 2 weeks of anger management classes, I will place her on non-reporting probation. So means that as soon as she's done with the anger management, hopefully by the end of February, then she'll be a non-reporting, so she doesn't have to pay probation fees. Is that something your client would like to consider?
Yes.
Yes, she would.
All right. Ms. Spikes, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Reed, I understand this is going to be a concurrent sentence, including the 2 week anger management. What are the other terms?
The other terms, no further contact with Officer A. Johnson. He's with the Union City Police Department, and the stay away from the Garden Inns and Suites, the address 6701 Shannon Parkway in Union City.
Any objection to a no further violent contact? Is that a law enforcement post-certified officer?
That no further violent contact. I apologize. You're correct.
Okay. Shannon Parkway in Union City. Okay. All right. Miss Helen, it would be 12 months instead of 20 days, credit for time served 10 days to be placed on probation. And is a concurrent time to complete with the stay away, no contact and anger management. Does your client agree to those terms?
She does, Judge. What's the officer's name again?
It's oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. A. Johnson. A.
Johnson. Thank you.
All right. And it'll be a no further violent contact. That means, she might come across him and, I don't know, maybe he might be freelancing or in a unit car. She's not to have any violent contact. That means no physical and no verbal altercations. If you can't say anything nice, just turn around and walk away.
Understood, Judge.
Ms. Helen, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID?
I do, Judge.
All right. Ms. Spikes, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, Judge. No, ma'am.
And have you understood everything that we've been discussing so far?
Yes.
Have you understood your attorney and are you satisfied with her services?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you decide to plead guilty to these 2 charges, you do understand you'll be on probation to complete anger management classes.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
will waive your probation fees until the end of February, so that gives you ample time to save your money and do those 2 weeks of anger management classes. That's 2 classes, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And after that, hopefully you've learned something from the 2 classes because I'll place you on non-reporting probation. So have you understood all that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You would have to give up your right to a trial, give up your right to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Has your attorney gone over all the rights, including the ones I've mentioned?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you freely, knowingly, and voluntarily waive these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass and simple battery?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 20 days, credit for time served 10 days. The balance of the time will be on probation. You'll report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you will complete those 2 weeks of anger management classes. I've already explained the waiver of probation fees and the non-reporting status after you've completed the anger management classes. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
No further violent contact with Officer A. Johnson, and to stay away from the Garden Inn's Hotel at 6701 Shannon Road or Shannon Parkway in Union City. Do not return to that hotel, otherwise you'll get arrested for criminal trespass. And then that would be your evite to come back to jail. Thank you.
Would I be released in the next 24 hours?
Within the next 24 hours. Good luck.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Hendrick, you're-
Mr. Cohen, good morning.
Good morning, Judge Law.
And have you had a chance to confer with your client?
Yes, Judge, I have, and we are ready to enter a plea this morning, and it should be a negotiated plea.
All right, do you have the paperwork, everything signed off by her?
Paperwork is not signed off, Judge. We're in different places. I don't know if that's going to affect this. What I would,
What we normally do is have you confer with her and get her express permission to fill out the plea paperwork and then send it to the court.
that is, we have conferred, and I've also gone over her Boykin rights, her habeas rights, her appellate rights, and everything she's going to waive and acknowledge at the plea. If the plea could be taken on the record, she'd also allow the court or the solicitor to sign for her, and they can certainly sign for me.
Ms. King, do you have the plea paperwork for?
I am finishing it up right now. If you could send your email in the chat, Attorney Cohen, so I can get it right to you.
Mr. Cohen?
I'm
If
sending
you-
it now, Judge.
Okay. And
Is this
if-
something we can do on the record, though?
no, sir. The problem is that number one is Zoom. Number two is that I need to make sure that you have either she's filled out the plea sheet and that you've signed off on it so that you can email it to my litigation manager for me to review. So.
Judge, yeah, thank you. We're going to have to reset this in some fashion. I've got to be in Hall County. I didn't know this was on a calendar this morning. Her husband alerted me.
Okay, so let me, Mr. Cohen, before you,
I'm not
no,
able to do that.
let me proceed first, 1 second. The offer is 12 months to serve 56 days, credit for time served 28 days. Is that correct?
That's right, Judge.
All right, so that means she has, according to my calculation, 7 more days to serve. Is that correct?
That is not the state's intention. It was supposed to be time served. There's supposed to be no more time. 28
I
times.
believe 28 days is half of the times that the state is asking for, which is 56.
Oh,
So
you're right,
28
you're
and
right.
28 should be
Okay.
56.
And also with the conditions, Your Honor.
All right, if you reset it, I mean, the earliest I can reset it would be next Tuesday.
Judge, we're going to have to live with that. What time next Tuesday?
I mean, it's time served. She can be released within 24 hours today. And I'd rather do that. All right, tell you what, Mr. Cohen,
Yes, ma'am.
on the record as an officer of the court, you've already conferred with her. You've already explained all her rights, the rights that she'll be waiving. And you've explained the terms of the plea offer. And you've indicated that she's agreed to accept those terms. Is this correct?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. King is going to email you the plea paperwork. All right. Once you complete that plea paperwork, you sign all the appropriate spots, including the area where she has to sign, and you need to indicate that it's with her express permission. Ms. Hendricks, do you give your attorney express permission to sign on your behalf?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, and I'll go over these rights with you as well. Mr.
Judge,
Cohen,
is this
Okay.
plea paperwork that can be filled out and signed electronically?
However, Ms. King emails it to you, or you can print it up and then scan it.
I'm not in a place where I can print it up. That's the problem.
Okay,
We have a PDF version.
You do? Okay. If you could send that to me, Ian, I can get it together really quick. Because I was gonna send a Word document.
all right.
Well,
Mr.
a Word
Cohen,
document is-
once you receive the paperwork, please write this down. April.champion.
Champion.
Yep. April.champion, common spelling, at fultoncountyga.gov. And once you've received the plea paperwork, you can email it back to Ms. King, but make sure you include this email as well.
And as soon as I get your email address, I can send it over, Attorney Cohen.
Okay, I'll send that now, and I guess I'll need yours too, Ms. King.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we're going to proceed with case 21 CR 002-085Y State versus Nakiba Hendricks. Ms. Hendricks is accused of battery domestic violence from April 26, 2021. Ms. Hendricks, you have been advised of your right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of the case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is Mr. Miles Cohen. You and Mr. Cohen have already had a phone conversation, and he has gone over the case with you, the terms of the plea offer from the state, the consequences if you take the plea offer, the rights that you would have to waive, including your rights to a trial, rights to an appeal, and so forth. And hopefully, he's explained everything to you to your satisfaction. Okay? So this is going to be a plea hearing. I understand it's a negotiated plea, so I'll need to place you under oath for purposes of the plea. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Ms. King, what is the plea offer for Ms. Hendricks?
It is 12 months to serve 56 days, credit for time served 28 days with the balance probated, a FVIP course, no further contact with Keegan Hendricks, Keegan, last name same as the defendant, and a stay away from 1716 Spring Creek Lane.
And what city is that in?
Let me find out.
That's the Sandy Springs address, Ms. King, I
Oh, it is?
believe.
Yes, it is. You're correct. It's Sandy Springs, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. And Mr. Cohen, those are the terms to which the Attorney King has indicated. Does your client accept these terms? And does your client stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do stipulate to a factual basis, Judge, and she accepts the terms of the negotiated plea.
Venue and ID as well?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Do you stipulate to venue and ID
Yes.
as well? Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Hendricks, you've already been placed under oath. Have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am, I haven't.
All right, and are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And having understood that, are you freely, knowingly, and intelligently going to proceed with this plea hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in doing so, you would have to give up your constitutional rights, which your attorney has gone over with you. Have you understood the waiver of rights as he's explained them to you?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
All right, some of those rights are going to include the right to a trial, the right to confront your accuser, the right to examine witnesses, have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's evidence and examine the witnesses, and also to have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of battery domestic violence?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 56 days, credit for time served 28 days. The remainder of the time you'll be on probation. Once you're released from the Fulton County Jail, you have to report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you will complete a 6-month domestic violence intervention program. It's a 6-month-long program of weekly classes, and you have to do so at your expense. You would also have to have no contact with Keegan Hendricks and stay away from 11716 Spring Creek Drive in Sandy Springs, Georgia. Do you have any personal belongings at that location?
No, ma'am.
All right, so you have no reason to go back to that location. Stay 200 yards away from Keegan. Do not have any contact with them through a phone, a computer, a third party, in person, or through social media.
I
Understood?
have a question. What if you're married? We're married.
What if what?
We're legally married.
Well, because of this particular criminal case, you are still required to stay away. Marriage doesn't prevent that.
Okay.
It can allow for a lot of stuff, but it won't. And if you're agreeing to no further contact, you have to stay away. Being married is an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah.
All right.
Judge, I
Okay.
will add this. I've heard from her husband this morning and this past week. I didn't know this was on a calendar this morning. I'm grateful to Mr. Finling for letting me know that, but the husband takes a position, has sent me something in writing saying that he has no problem having contact with her. So I wonder if the court would allow that to be a no violent contact provision. You can't see, well, you can see Ms. Hendricks, but she's got some serious medical issues that make housing a concern, meaning that she needs a place to stay. He lives at 1920 Lakewood Drive, I think it is, in Cumming, Georgia, in Forsyth County. She has heart failure and has had cancer surgery twice in the last 3 years and is being treated for colon cancer. So,
May I ask, if you said that he lives at a different location now?
he does. He lives at 1920 Lakewood Drive in Forsyth County in Cumming, Georgia. However, I don't know that that's, Ms. Hendricks can tell us, but I don't know that that Sandy Springs location is a location where anyone lives any longer.
Yeah, we were evicted.
Okay, so she's been evicted from Spring Creek Lane.
We both were.
I'm sorry?
We both were evicted due to COVID because we both lost our jobs.
Okay, all right. Ms. King and Mr. Walker do you got any updates that Mr. Keegan Hendricks is open to no further violent contact?
No, not at this time, Your Honor, but in any event, the defendant has an open simple battery family violence case with Sandy Springs that occurred in April of 2021, around the same time as this offense. And she also has an open DUI and a felony drug out of Douglas County that in that same month. So for that reason, especially, I was not able to confirm if Ms. Keegan was the victim of that simple battery family violence, that second one. But in any event, the state, I believe, is going to maintain our position of no further contact due to the violent nature of the offense. A weapon was used, Your Honor. And at this time, I just don't think contact would be appropriate. If ASG Walker has a different position.
No, I have the same position. If the victim is not present in court to represent his position, we're maintaining the no contact order. As Ms. King has already stated, she has another simple battery family violence open, whether it's the same victim or not. That's very concerning. And that's the basis for our no contact. If the victim wants to appear in court and make his position known, then so be it. If he's not here, the state is asking for no contact.
Mr. Cohen, I'm inclined to still maintain the no further contact simply because I don't have Keegan Hendricks ever mentioning this to victim advocate, and he's not here to advocate for that position.
I understand, Judge. It's a dysfunctional situation all the way around.
It sounds like it, but I'm still open to amending it if within the next 7 days.
And with
Mr.
all the
Hendricks.
respect, Your Honor, we'll have to research the open simple battery family violence, because it very well may be a condition
Oh,
of
I'm
her
not saying I
bond.
will amend it. I'm not saying I will amend it. I'm
Okay.
just saying I'm leaving it open for 7 days if the circumstances indicate that no further violent contact is warranted. But you know, obviously y'all have to do this research and everything, and Mr. Hendricks has to appear. So presently, it's no further contact. Do you still want to proceed with the plea, or do I tear it up? Mr. Coleman?
Miss, I do, Judge. If that question is for Miss Hendricks, so let's get her reply.
Well, it's like, what, at the time, currently, it's like, yeah, pretty much, because even at the 1920 Lakewood Road, he's like hardly even there.
That's not the question, Miss Hendricks. You
Miss
still want- you
Hendricks.
still want to proceed
Stop,
with the
folks,
plea.
folks, please stop, please stop. Miss Hendricks, the
Okay.
current sentence requires you to have no contact with Keegan Hendricks.
Okay.
Doesn't matter where he lives. You can't live with him. You can't be within 200 yards of him. Do you want to agree to that sentence, or do I tear it up and send the case to trial?
No, I agree with it.
Anything else, Mr. Coleman?
Just one thing, Judge. I'm want to clarify the mechanics of getting the plea paperwork back to the court. I'm going to need some help from my office because I'm about to hit the road here
Okay.
to get to Hall County. Can we just get that done this afternoon in some fashion?
Whenever you are done, please make sure it's sent to April Champion. I just need. the
I'll
plea
do that. Thank you, Judge, and I'll send it to Delenia King as well, to Ms. King.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, South Annex, have we completed?
No, Your Honor, let me run these four ladies back and I'll be right back.
Okay. Do we have,
I have to go get Miss Durham, position 9, and Miss McGee.
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
I'll be
I
right
have
back.
jail court iPhone. Who is present, please?
Position 35, Renee Rockwell, client.
And Your Honor, for position 35, we're just waiting for Ms. Rockwell to send back the plea paperwork. So
I'm
she-
about to send it right now. Just bear with me. I promise you, we finally got it. We
Yeah.
got
Okay.
it good now.
All right, we're holding on Ms. Rockwell's client, position 35. We're holding on 2 cases from South Annex. Are there any other locations at the jail? Okay, I'm going to go over the calendar right now while we're waiting to address these 3 cases. Jail court, iPhone, we can place that on mute, please. Daryl Lee Davis, the add-on case. Do we know what's going on?
He's ready on that case, Your Honor.
Jail court, iPhone, please mute.
Yeah,
Mr.
mute.
Findling, is that your case, Daryl Davis?
Yes, Judge, that is my case. That was gonna be a plea. I know, I'm not sure if the jail is having difficulty getting him.
Okay, so
But-
that's the only add-on. So let me do the SAP calendar. Position 1 is a plea. Position 2, Boykin is released. Position 3 is a plea. Position 4 and 5 and 6 were pleas. Position 7, Campbell.
That's an MH reset
Yeah,
for
that was gonna be
October
a-
6th.
A reset,
Okay.
Judge, the jail.
Sorry, I don't have that cheat sheet over here. MH to October, reset October 6th. Donald Campbell. Position 8, Drake was a plea. Position 9 is going to be a plea. Is that correct? Bonita
correct,
Durham?
That's
Okay. Position 10 is 11. A couple more. That's it. Elam is reset September 29. Position 12 is arraigned and further notice. 13 Hall is arraigned and further notice. 14 Henderson is a plea. Well, yeah. Position 15, oh, excuse me, and 15 was a plea as well. Position 16 was a plea. Position 17 Jenkins is 17 is reset 9/29. 18 Johnson is reset 9/29. Position 19 is a plea. Position 20 Jones. What's the announcement? Is reset 9/29.
Yes, Judge.
Position 21, Lewis is a plea. 22, 23 are pleas, all Lewis. And McGee, 24 is a plea, I think. Yeah,
We're still holding for Miss McGee.
got it. Position 26, Daryl Paris is reset to 10/5.
And Judge, I just have a correction. That's actually going to be 10/6.
10/6, okay.
For the Thursday SAP.
No problem. Daryl Paris is 10/6. 27 and 28 are pleas. 29, Ragland was arraigned and further notice. 30 is a plea. 31 is a plea. 32 is a plea. 33, Kainasa is going to be a plea. That's right.
You said 33, that's going to be reset to the competency calendar.
33, no, 33. Oh, sorry. Yes, it is. Okay.
Are we submitting an order on that position or has the order been submitted?
Order has already been submitted.
All right, thank you.
34, O'Brien Smith is a plea. 35, Shay Spencer is Ms. Rockwell. Yeah, 35 is well, I'll find out from Ms. Rockwell.
That's gonna be a
35
plea.
is what we are waiting on for the documents, okay? I think it's a plea. I'm putting a question mark. 36, Spikes is a plea. 37, Stanley is arraigned and further notice. 38 is reset to 9/29. 39, Carlos Thomas is.
I submitted that order or the request and the referral yesterday, and so he will be reset to the October 25th calendar for a competency calendar.
Are the couple waiting on Mr. Carlos Thomas been informed? Carlos Thomas?
They left.
They left, okay. Position 40, Tom Laquan Thompson is 40 and 41. Those were pleas. And position 42 were, Wilson was a plea. So we have Miss Rockwell's case, position 35, Miss Helen's case, position 24 and 31, and Mr. Finling's case, position 9.
Your Honor, maybe we revisit position 16. I have it down as an arraignment. I believe you said it was a plea.
Oh, I may have misspoke. Yes, sorry.
And Judge, I have for 31 was a plea and that we've already covered that position.
Yes, we did. I don't know why I wrote it down. Okay, sorry about that. So I have 9, 24, and 35. One for each lawyer. Okay, not too bad. Okay. Miss Reed or Miss King, did you all get the paperwork from Miss Rockwell?
She's completing it right now. I don't have it at my.
Okay,
in my-
that's fine. I'll be right back with the 3 other cases. Mr. Jordan, could you place Mr. Walker, Mr. Howard, and myself in a breakout room, please? Is Mr. Howard with us? And Kia Burgess too, please. Thank you.
That would be old man Howard. He should be on here.
Yeah, I know which one she's talking about.
Well, that's a good looking lawyer. We have Miss Ann McGee. She's got some pretty lipstick. Milton speaking. Which one? Yeah, no. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Where's the,
I think we're just waiting for the judge. I'm here and ready. I think we're just waiting for the judge to come back on.
okay, so I have Miss Durham and Miss McGee.
Thank you, Officer Milton.
You're welcome. We'll get to you, Central.
Yes.
Sorry, Arigato. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give me some glasses.
Hey, just for heads up, I need to get Hughley, Erica Hughley, or the A11. Soon the judge come back on the bench, I'm gonna come down and get her. Oh, is the whole, or it's just the, why did you break it? Call who? Y'all didn't call him? Oh. Alrighty, we just have her car ready, I'll go get her. Hughley, Erica, she's an A11. Thank you. Oh, I don't know.
Live shadows.
Sorry, folks, that took a little longer than expected. We are going to address the 3 cases that are still remaining on our calendar. And we're going to begin with Miss
Without annex, Your Honor. This before you is Miss Randall.
Ms. Randall. Okay, please come forward to the monitor. I don't see anyone in front of the monitor.
I'm sorry, Miss Randall.
That's Miss McGee.
Yes.
Miss McGee, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. How are you doing?
This is Ann McGee, case number 22 CR 002307J, accused of criminal trespass and damage to property from April 16, 2022. I understand this is going to be a negotiated plea. Miss McGee, Miss McGee and the other defendant in the room, I want to remind you that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is going to be Miss Helen. Okay, Miss Reed, what is the offer for Miss McGee?
Thank you, Judge. It's 12 months, served 42 days, credit for time served, 21 days, balance suspended, and a stay away from the incident location.
All right, and the location is?
Sorry. This location is the Peachtree Center MARTA Station, 216 Peachtree Street in Atlanta.
Okay. Miss Helen, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID, and does your client accept these terms?
She does accept those terms, and we do stipulate, Your Honor, to the factual basis, venue, and ID.
Thank you. Miss McGee, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
If you decide to take this plea, you would have to give up your constitutional right to have a trial. You will not be able to go to court, confront your accuser, examine witnesses, and challenge the state's evidence, or present your own defenses. You will also have to waive your right to have the state prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to waive these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass causing damage to property?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 42 days, credit for time served 21 days. The rest of the time of your sentence is suspended, so you don't have any additional jail time. You have to stay away from the MARTA station at Peachtree Street in accordance with any suspension that you may have with MARTA. So I recommend that you contact the Lindbergh MARTA station headquarters to see if there's a suspension against you. Understood?
Yes, because if there's a total against me with the whole MARTA station and transportation, then I need to move.
So what do you want to do? Stay away from all the MARTA?
No, I'm trying to figure out, is that for the whole transportation? Am I going to be able to catch the MARTA?
You can take MARTA from any station except the Peachtree Center MARTA station.
That's what I want to be clear on.
You cannot get out from the Peachtree MARTA station, or you cannot take a train or a bus from the Peachtree MARTA station.
Okay, that sounds like.
Do it at 5 Points, you can do it at Midtown, you can do it at Civic Center, not just that one.
Yes, okay. All right, that I have full understanding of that.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
All right, Miss Helen, I think that concludes your cases.
Let's see.
It does, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Make sure you send all your paperwork to Miss Champion. Thank you.
I've sent it to Miss Champion. I just want to make sure she's received it.
Yes, I'm printing.
She's got it. She's in the process of getting through it all.
Thank
you. Mhm. All right, who do we have, please?
Next you have Miss,
Is this Miss Durham?
yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Position
Nine.
correct. Thank you. We have Bonita Gail Durham, case number 18 CR 006501B. Ms. Durham is accused of battery domestic violence from July 4th, 2018. Ms. Durham, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Zach Finley. Is this a negotiated plea, Mr. Finley?
That's correct, Judge. It is
All right.
negotiated.
Ms. Durham, may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it will.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. King, what is the terms for Ms. Durham?
Yes, Your Honor, it is 12 months to serve 42 days, credit for time served 21 days with the balance probated, FVIP, no further contact, and a stay away. That no further contact is with David Swain, first name traditional spelling, last name Swain, and the stay away is from 585 Marina Street in Hakeville.
Okay.
And Judge, that is our understanding of the offer, of which we do agree. Do agree to the no further contact and stay away as well. Would just ask that once she completes the family violence class, if she could be non-reporting, and also if the probation fees could be waived for a period of time.
All right. I will waive for probation fees, but let me see, 42 days. I'll waive for probation fees for the entire time. She'll be on a reporting basis. Ms. Durham, you will be on probation for the entire sentence, but you would have to, but I'll waive all your probation fees. You have the next 11 months to complete your 6-month domestic violence classes. It's a 6-month-long program. It's every week. So you'll need to make sure you save your money so you can pay for those classes.
I told him I don't have money to do it.
No. We did get the fees waived.
I've got a probation fees waived, but you need money to pay for the domestic violence classes.
I know.
What's your income?
I have my income. My income is my check every month, but I have to pay my rent.
Ms. King, I think we are setting her up for failure if she has to do the FBI.
How much is it?
What? No.
How much do I pay a week?
Yeah. Yeah, if possible, if we can not have the family violence course, not to have a recipe for failure for her.
I will defer to ASG Walker regarding that request.
Mr. Walker, how are you feeling about 60 hours of community service? How's that sit with you?
Who, me?
No, not, well, first let's find out the head prosecutor. I don't think he's on the screen.
I'm calling him now.
In the meantime, Ms. Rockwell, are you ready with your, and Ms. King, or is it Ms. Reed?
Yeah, I've submitted the paperwork.
Yes, I'm ready, Judge.
All right. And I
Ready,
think
Judge.
the jail court is still present for position 35.
I can't hear him.
Okay, hold on, they're not saying anything right now.
I'm on mute.
Mr. Walker, we are on Bonita Durham. Position
Yes, I just
9.
spoke with Ms. I'm sorry, I just spoke with Ms. King. I was just getting off the phone with Ms. Crawford about Ms. Daniels, of course. But the state's position is she'll have 11 months of probation. Within that time, she will need to make a good faith attempt or effort to find employment and find the funding for the classes. If she's unable to, maybe it's something that the court will revisit. But at this time, she has 11 months to secure employment. FVIP is a typical condition for this type of class or this type of charge, if you will. So 60 hours of community service will not suffice.
Okay. All right. Mr. Findling, Ms. Durham, The prosecution is not accepting 60 hours of community service. And since this is a negotiated plea, you would have to try to do those classes. You have to try to do as many as you can.
Okay.
You may
You
have
said
to get
what
a
you get-
job. You may have to get a job. You may have to save your money, tighten your belt. And just try to do as many classes as you can, because I'm going to waive all your probation fees.
Okay, that's fine.
All
So
right.
that's like how much a week? Like, is it every week?
It's different schools, so I don't know. You'll have to ask your probation officer about different places and how much they charge.
All right,
All right?
that'll work.
Okay, so if you decide to, as I was saying, I don't remember where I was with you. Well, we already stipulated, I've already asked you whether you've taken any alcohol or medication. You understood the proceedings. And you also understand that if you take this plea, you will have to give up your right to go back to court, have a trial in front of your accuser, examine witnesses, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. It's all coming back. And how do you plead to one count of battery domestic violence?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve, 42 days, credit for time served, 21 days. You'll be released from the jail within 24 hours. You must report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you report to probation, you will report every month, and you will do so for the next 11 months.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying every week. Okay, that's fine. I can do that.
Listen very carefully. Listen very carefully. You have to report to the probation officer every month.
Okay,
And you don't have to pay probation fees.
that's fine.
And that will be for 11 months.
Okay,
Now, during 11 months, you have to do these domestic violence classes. And that's a 6-month-long program. And you have to pay for those classes. And your probation officer will tell you where you can go to do those classes.
that's fine.
So you have 11 months to save as much money and do as many classes as you can.
Okay,
All right?
all right.
You cannot have any contact with David Swain. You have to
Yes, ma'am.
stay 200 yards away from him. And you cannot return to 585 Marina Street in Hateville.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I think we understand each other now. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. Best of luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I be excused, please?
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
Debbie Milton. We are good to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, I don't know if, Zach, do you have more cases? I don't know if we've resolved the calendar yet.
No,
We've already gone over the calendar. The only case left is Renee Rockwell's case. Everything else has been addressed.
Oh, we also have Darrell Davis from the Tuesday reset. If we're still dealing with
Darrell
him.
Lee
Ready,
Davis.
Judge.
Yeah, the add-on case.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take Ms. Rockwell's case first. This is position 35.
Thank you, Judge.
Chase Miguel Spencer, case number 20 CR 0000966G. Mr. Spencer was accused of following too closely and driving on a suspended or revoked license from February 21st, 2019. Mr. Spencer, this is going to be a negotiated plea. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Renee Rockwell. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
You solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Reed, what is the plea offer, please?
The plea is 12 months, served 365 days, credit for time served 276 days, and that's for count 1, and count 2 will run concurrent.
All right, thank you. Ms. Rockwell, does your client accept these terms? And Do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
So stipulated, Judge, and this is a negotiated plea. And you can see he's in jail. He's got bigger fish to fry. We're just trying to resolve this matter. And because of the time in, I would think that this would be time served. Is that the court's impression also? And we're
Yes,
asking,
it's 12 months to serve 365 days, credit for time served 276 days. It's concurrent, so he has no more jail time. The case is closed. He's done.
no fine, no probation, no nothing. Judge, we just ask that you accept we're attending a NOLO plea.
All right. Mr. Spencer, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you have understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
If you decide to take this plea, you would have to do so freely, knowingly, and voluntarily. Are you prepared to do so?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that by taking this plea, you waive your constitutional right to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to
Correct.
have the assistance of counsel so that you can challenge the state's evidence, present your own defenses, examine witnesses, confront your accuser, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to waive these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of following too closely and operating a vehicle on a suspended or revoked license? Your sentence is 12 months to serve 365 days. Credit for time served is 276 days. That concludes your jail time. This case is now closed and you have no further obligations in this case. Thank you.
Judge, I just need to make sure that he tendered a NOLO plea.
Oh, I heard guilty. So this was a NOLO plea?
Yes, Judge.
Sure. Okay,
That's fine, Your Honor.
all right. NOLO plea, understood. Okay.
Okay.
Make sure it's a NOLO plea. Okay.
May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. Rockwell, have a great day.
Thank you so much. And thank you for sending the Zoom link, Miss Reed, and thank everybody. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have one other case, Daryl Lee Davis. Jail court, do we have a Daryl Lee Davis available?
Judge, I think he gonna be reset.
All right, I'm gonna reset him to next Tuesday, which is September 27th.
Sounds good. Thank you.
For a plea. All right. Are there any other cases for me to address? I've gone over the calendar. Is there anything else? Anyone? Any questions? Last call.
No, Judge.
Okay. All right.
Thank
everyone. Y'all have a great weekend. See you next
Thank you,
week.
Judge.
Take care.
Okay, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.